Those of you who have signed up to speak, when you signed up, Cheryl asked you to check whether you are speaking in favor of appealing the decision or not appealing the decision. I'll take speakers in order as signed up on today's commitment sheet, and will alternate speakers according to your notation of either appealing the decision or not appealing. I'd ask you to keep in mind the issue today is not whether guns will be allowed on campus. From the beginning of this litigation, the actions of the Board of Regents in defending the case have been to defend and protect the autonomy of the Board of Regents. The issue before the Board is a concern about our ability to strengthen and/or protect our authority and autonomy as the constitutionally empowered governing body of the state of Colorado, including the decisions regarding the health, welfare, and safety of students, faculty, staff, and visitors to our campuses. Obviously, these decisions could be either to allow or not to allow guns on our campuses, but we are not addressing those decisions today.
Lifting the ban on concealed weapons puts my students in jeopardy, and I'm not comfortable putting my students in that position. Lifting that ban infringes on my ability to create open, inclusive, and supportive environments, and honestly, I'm not comfortable in teaching in such an environment that allows for that. I applaud the autonomy of the regents here and their decision to support this concealed weapons ban.
It doesn't strike me as realistic that if someone is actually intent upon violence at the university, that the first thing they're going to do is call up the FBI, send in their fingerprints, wait 6 months for approval, have a criminal background check. That's the sort of person we're talking about here.
So it's my feeling that this is a concealed carry issue and should be separated from the Board Authority issue as best we can. CSU has allowed concealed carry, and the University of Colorado has not. I believe the student populations are very similar. They come from the same state. You look at sexual assaults, violent sexual assaults. In 2002, there were 47 on the CSU campus. In 2008, there were 2. If you look at the overall crime rate then at CSU, it's fallen by 61%. During the same period, here at the University of Colorado, and I believe it's specific to the Boulder campus, the crime rate has increased by 37%.
I think your presence here crystallizes what this issue is ultimately about, which is the authority, the ability of the regents to govern policy matters concerning the health and the safety of our students. That is why the Board of Regents is included in the state constitution, as I think Regent Bosley eloquently articulated, and that is why you all elect a Board of Regents here in the state of Colorado, unlike many other states. I believe that if we were to not appeal this decision, we would be abdicating that authority, and you all would no longer have the ability to come speak to the board about these kind of issues of such great public importance, because we would no longer have the authority to decide them. So for that reason, I will be voting to appeal the decision of the Colorado Supreme Court.
It's important for us to make it very clear that we are taking every avenue to preserve the authority of this board to act. As to the underlying policy issues, I want to be clear, I have extensive experience in law enforcement before I went into private practice. I am a gun owner. I've gone through gun training programs. And there are many arguments, and I think reasonable minds disagree on this particular issue. But this is also, to me, an issue of shared governance. When the students first came to this board down in Colorado Springs and asked us to make the policy change, we said, come back to us. Go first to faculty groups and staff groups and student groups, and come back to us and show us that there is a broad-based support for such a policy change on this campus. They didn't. They went to the courtroom and sued us instead.
Ultimately, it took a student lawsuit to force this board into having this discussion. So I would hope, regardless, like I said, how this particular vote turns out today, that we continue this dialogue and we engage the community. And I certainly support everything that Regent Geddes and Regent Bosley have said, because I'm in favor of concealed carry on campus.
As Regent Lucero brought up, the board has had the opportunity at any time over the last number of years to look at our policy 14I, which is our weapons policy prohibiting weapons on campus, and we have chosen, for I think have been very reasonable reasons not to. Yes, this lawsuit is about board autonomy, but as Regent Bosley adequately pointed out that the underlying issue can't be ignored. One of the reasons, as a gun owner and as someone that has grown up around guns and handguns throughout my entire life, the idea of introducing anyone with a weapon in a dormitory setting, and I'm fully aware that you have to be 21 to get a concealed weapons permit, but we know that upperclassmen visit dorms. And we know what happens in dorms, as much as we as educators like to not talk about it, but students are experimenting with sex, they're experimenting with drugs, they're experimenting with alcohol. And adding firearms into that mix, I think, is a horrifically bad idea.